Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Indu Shakti, Assistant Professor, Department of English, St. Joseph's College of Arts and Science, Autonomous Cuddalore. This video is a continuation of the novel The Count of Monte Cristo, written by Alexander Dumas, a novel retold by Beatrice Conway. In the previous videos, we have discussed chapters 1 to 10. Now, let's discuss chapters 11 and 12. Chapter 11, Years of Hard Work. In this chapter, Dante comes to know the people who have made him to go to the prison, and so he vows to take revenge on all of them. Moving on to the chapter, when he saw how his so called friends had tricked him, Dante vowed to take revenge on them. But the priest, he shakes off his head sadly. It is wrong to think of revenge, he told, and then he asked him to do what he can further go on with his revenge taking. Ab Faria was very interested in Dante's, and Dante's also became very close to Ab Faria. He wanted to learn much of the things from Ab Faria. So every day Faria gave him lessons in mathematics, science, history, foreign languages, literature, and medicine. Dante's already knew some Italian, and by the end of 6 months, he also began to speak Spanish, English, and German. After a year, Dante knew so much on every subject that no one would have thought that he was just a simple sailor. He was very quick to learn, and the priest was very clever teacher. Faria said that by the end of another year, Dantes would know as much as he knew. So time went on. About 2 years after their first meeting, the prisoners began to think again about escaping from the Chiadov. They planned to make a new tunnel which would lead them the tunnel connecting their cells. It would go under a gallery where a cemetery was on guard. Here they would make a pit. The paving covering the pit would give way when the cemetery stepped upon it, and he would fall into the tunnel. They would overpower the sentry and escape by lowering Faria's cotton ladder through a window down to the sea. Although they were now working hard on the new tunnel, Faria continued to teach Dantes. The young man became as learned as his friends. By talking every day to the gentle priest, Dantes also lost his rough seaman's ways. He became a polite, elegant, and good mannered in the way that only those with the highest and the best education usually become. After almost another 2 years, their tunneling came to a sudden end. Ab Faria fell ill. He had a sudden attack and became almost helpless. He begged Dantes to continue the work alone and to escape by himself. But the young man would not think of leaving his old friend. He was determined to stay with him until he was well again. If they could not escape together, then he did not wish to escape at all. So there was no more tunneling. So, looking at all these, Faria was surprised by the young man's devotion and friendship. He began to look upon him as his own son, so he decided to share with him the secret of his fortune. At the end of chapter 11, Faria decides to share the secret of his fortune. Chapter 12, Faria's Treasure. Dantes had heard the guards of Chiadov say that Faria was mad because he talked about a fortune which he did not have. When the old man again began to speak of his treasures, Dantes felt sure that he was more losing his mind. Faria looked at him and told that he is not mad and he wants to share the true story with Dantes. Now he begins to say the story how he had got into the prison. Cardinal Spada, the secretary of Faria, had been the last remaining member of a very old Roman family. At the end of 15th century, this family had been forced to hide their wealth so that it would not fall into the hands of the powerful Caesar Borgia. The head of Spada family at that time was named Caesar Spada. He hid the family fortune so well that after he was poisoned by Caesar Borgia, not only he could be murdered, not find it, but neither could his family. Caesar Spada did not have time before his death to let his family know where the treasure was hidden. He was thought to have made a will, but this could not be found either. Cardinal Spada, the last member of the Spada family, spent much of his lifetime trying to find a clue to the whereabouts of the fortune, but he did not succeed. When he died, having no heirs, he left his papers to his secretary, the Abbé Faria. One day, when he was looking through these, Faria picked up a sheet of paper with no writing on it. It was getting dark, so he used the paper to light a candle. As he put it in the fire, he suddenly saw yellowish letters appearing on it. Quickly, he put out the flames, realizing that something was written there in invisible ink. The letters only showed when the paper was heated. So Faria managed to save most of the paper and then he warmed it to make the rest of the writing appear. When the paper had been burnt, some of the words were missing. And Faria, with his high intelligence, as he was a clever man, he was able to fill the missing portion where the paper had been burnt. He wrote it down on another piece of paper. Faria had learnt it all by heart, and he now wrote everything again on two pieces of paper for Dantes to read. This is what Dantes saw when he put the two pieces paper together. This 25th day of April 1498, I was invited to dinner with the great Caesar Borgia. I am afraid that he will poison me in order to lay hands on my wealth. I therefore declared to my nephew Guido Spada that I have been buried it in the caves on the island of Monte Cristo. It is worth about 2,000,000 Roman crowns, and it can be found by raising the 20th rock from the small creek to the east in a right line. The treasure is the farthest angle in the second opening in the caves. I bequeath everything to my nephew as my sole heir. 25th April 1498, signed by Caesar Spada. Before Faria could go in search of the treasure, he was arrested. So he had not been able to see whether the wealth of the Spadas was still lying in the hiding place or not. Now, Faria insists Dantes to find the fortune and he helps him to escape from the prison so that they would share the Spada fortune between them. As Faria's health was going day by day very weak, he insists Dantes to escape from the prison all alone. But Dantes would not accept for these, as he loves Faria so much, the old priest. And Faria, at the end of this chapter, says to Dantes that he is his own son. And by these words, the young man, Edmond Dantes, threw himself at the feet of Faria and wept continuously. So, with this, we are concluding chapter 11 and 12. Thank you.